Hi there, my name is Henry. I'm one of the founders here at Reclaim. And today I'm going to show you how to get started with the Google Tasks integration for Reclaim. Now, if you already use Reclaim for adding tasks to your calendar, you can think of our integration as just a really simple way to add tasks without ever having to leave your calendar, right? So if you want to just add your tasks directly to Google Tasks, Reclaim will pick them up, sync them to our backend, and then we'll just push them all out to your calendar automatically, right? So it's just a very convenient way to manage your tasks. So to get started, we're going to go to our settings page here. Now, I've already set up the integration, and you can see it here under the integrations section. But if you haven't set it up already, you're going to see a button here that says Connect Google Tasks. We're going to ask you to authenticate through Google, and then we're going to ask you for some permission, basically just to view and manage and edit your tasks. And really, this is just a way for us to see that you've added tasks to Google Tasks and make sure that we keep everything in sync on our side. Once you've done that, the next thing you're going to want to do is go to your calendar. Now, there's a bunch of benefits to using Google Tasks, but one of the big benefits is that it's sitting directly in your calendar, right? So you don't ever have to worry about leaving your calendar if you want to add a task to Reclaim. And you can open and close the task panel just by clicking this button here on the right-hand side. Now, before you get started, there's a couple things you should probably do. The first thing is you're going to want to basically hide this tasks calendar. Now, this calendar is added automatically by Google, and it's not very helpful from the perspective of Reclaim because Reclaim's actually going to add events to your primary calendar so that other people can see when you're busy working on those tasks, right? If you keep this task calendar open, it's not going to do anything bad, but it's just a little distracting. So we're gonna basically hide it. The second thing you're going to want to do is actually go to the task list in Google Tasks that Reclaim automatically creates. Now, this list, the next time you go to Google Tasks, is going to open by default, but you got to select it in order to add tasks that Reclaim is going to pick up. So any tasks you add in this list, Reclaim is going to treat as things that you want added to Reclaim and therefore added to your calendar. So let's start by adding a task. We're going to start really simple, and then we'll show you some more complex, kind of higher order things we can do with Google Tasks. So I'm going to add a task called hiring plan for BizOps. And I can click edit here. You can see I can add details just like I can in Reclaim if I want to add some notes to this thing to make sure I'm kind of reminded of what the task is about. So I say, need to hire business development team, right? And then I'm going to add a due date. And the due date is, as we've talked about in previous videos, it's really the date that Reclaim is going to look for time by, right? It's not the date that the actual task is going to get scheduled. It's when is this thing actually due? And so I'm going to add a date, and let's say it's on the 7th. So I hit OK, and that's it. And once I've added this, in a few seconds, it can take up to a minute because Google Tasks can be a little bit slow to push information out to Reclaim. But in up to a minute, you're going to see a task appear sometime before Friday, August 7th. And so we'll give it a few seconds. Cool. So as you can see, we've added the hiring plan for BizOps task here on Tuesday the 4th between 5 and 6 p.m. One of the things to note is that if you don't enter in a duration, and we'll talk about how to do that here in a second, Reclaim's just going to assume that your task is going to take an hour, right? So that's how much time we're blocking for this task right now. But let's say that you want to add a task that has a longer duration, or you want to add a little bit more context and give Reclaim a little bit more instruction as to when you want the task scheduled. So for that, we're going to use some more natural language in the actual title of the task. And you can read more about this at our actual help section under creating and updating tasks using natural language. We give a deeper dive on how to use this syntax. But a simple way of thinking about it is you're basically just giving some additional parameters to your task so that Reclaim kind of knows what to do with it. So let's try adding a task called Get Slides Done. And now I'm actually going to do an open parentheses here, and I'm going to say, okay, this is a work task. And that basically tells Reclaim, don't schedule this on the weekends. It's really something I want to get done for work. I can also say duration. I can say, I need 2 hours to do this thing. I can also say the due date here. I can say next Friday. And then I can also do not before. So I can say, don't schedule time before next Monday. So I hit enter. So what you're going to see is that Reclaim's actually going to get rid of all of this stuff once we schedule the task, right? It's just going to show the title. This is just additional information that we slurp in, and then we basically strip it off of the task title. So you're not going to see this on your calendar event. Cool. So now you can see that we actually internalized next Friday as Friday the 14th, and we internalized next Monday as the 10th. So now you can probably see that I have this 2-hour block of time for get slides done, right? And I said, don't schedule it before Monday. It didn't turn out that I had enough time for a 2-hour task on Monday. So I'm getting my slides done between 4 and 6 p.m. on Tuesday the 11th. So one of the nice things about Google Tasks is that you can also mark your tasks as done from here. And Reclaim will automatically take that signal and pull the task off of your calendar automatically. Right, so if I say, okay, I'm actually done with this thing. I don't want to work on it anymore. And as a matter of fact, I'm actually done with this hiring plan too. I'm done with that. And what you'll notice in a few seconds is we will actually get rid of the tasks on your calendar. Cool. So we can now see that the Google task that we created is now gone from the calendar because we marked it as complete. So the other nice thing about the Google Tasks integration is that even if you create tasks from within Reclaim or within Slack, we're going to automatically sync them to this list. So you'll still be able to see them and manage them in Google Tasks. So for example, if I go to the tasks list here and I add a new task, and let's say it's, work on strategy document. And this is just a test, so I'll just add an hour and then add a due date, and I'll hit save. Once it's scheduled, you're actually going to see it get added pretty quickly to this Google Tasks list. So it's just a nice way of keeping all of your tasks in sync and kind of managing them in this one central location. The last thing we'll show you is how to create tasks from email. Now, this is a really nice little feature that's actually built directly into Gmail. So here I have an email that's asking to work on slides this afternoon. And I can literally just hit this Add to Tasks button from within Gmail. And as soon as I add it, I get a task that's created that is from the subject line of the email. But then if I go in here, there's actually a link, a deep link to the thread. And this deep link will also show up in the calendar events that that Reclaim puts on the calendar. So right here, you can actually see the task that got created from my email, and you can actually see that deep link back to the email thread. And by default, Reclaim is going to pick a due date that's only a few days out, but I can update this due date, and I can also update the duration using the language that I showed earlier. So I could just say, duration, 2 hours, and I'm going to pick a new due date of the 7th, and I'll hit OK. And now in a few seconds, you'll see this get updated, and the task will get rescheduled, and we'll have 2 hours for it instead of 30 minutes. So you can see actually when we updated that duration and the due date, we actually saw that event disappear, the one that was for 30 minutes, and now we have these two events instead, one for 1 hour from 5 to 6 p.m. on Tuesday, and another from 7 to 8 a.m. on Wednesday the 5th. So pretty simple to modify your Google Tasks once they're in there using either the natural language or using the Google Tasks UI. So Google Tasks is just a great way to manage your tasks centrally, all from within your calendar. You don't have to use the Google Tasks integration, but we definitely recommend setting it up to get the most out of tasks in Reclaim. So that's about it for the walkthrough on Google Tasks. Thanks for watching. And if you have questions, you can send them in Intercom, or you can send them to hello@Reclaim.ai. Thanks for watching the video, and take care.